Hi, it's Joanne here. You're watching 911 Lone Star, Season 5, Episode 3, C12. Now, there was a huge explosion at the end of the last episode. I've been waiting all week for the cliffhanger to be resolved. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon. And let's go.
Do you copy? Captain Stratton, do you copy?
Just give him a moment. Oh, Lord.
Marjan? Where's Marjan?
Yes, please. She was very close.
What's up? I'm okay, Cap. Okay.
Okay, can someone check her over just to make sure? Yep.
Wounds.
Oh no.
Dispatch, we have a problem.
Is it C12? That's what the episode title is.
We have an 129 injuries. All available units respond.
Your heart
What's
is
that
still
mean?
there.
Means we need to make a detour.
Could always call. No, I can't always call Trap.
Hey, don't sweat it, Cap. I know the perfect guy for you.
Carlos?
Rescue 126.
All right, start winching, Paul.
Copy that, Cap.
Hey, the place is moving! Hold on!
Oh no!
I said stand down.
And I said I got it!
Damn it.
Marjan.
Cap, where you going? Now that was all time, Barge.
Oh.
Well, that was a hell of a stunt. You should feel thankful you pulled it off.
I lied.
Marjan. You really should have calmed down when he said, and we could take a moment and go back up, rather than getting injured.
Your mom's gonna be stuck at work for a little while longer.
We know, the train derailment. Reverend Parks told us.
Reverend Parks.
Hey, Carlos. This is my daughter, Melody.
Hi,
So
Melody.
I
Nice
mean,
to meet you.
did he
Hi.
tell Tommy he was coming
fine.
over?
Technically, I suppose you could say it's trespassing.
Technically, it's kidnapping.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously his heart is in the right place, but like Tommy's not speaking to you right now. You can't just turn up at her house and take over babysitting her children. You should at the very least text her to say, I know things are stressful right now, I know you're not talking to me. I'm not saying that our discussion is being like, we'll put that aside for now and I'll be with the girls, you focus on the job. I love you. You know, that would be fine. But he hasn't even bothered telling her he's coming over. Sorry, I don't like this man. I
You're
need
the
to stop.
expert.
It was an order and you ignored it.
What would you do in my position?
I mean, that is true.
Probably the same thing.
But she did ignore it.
Hey, Cap.
I feel like he's gonna pick Paul
The
now.
water supply is back.
They still haven't found the boy, the brother. He wasn't really a boy, he was a man, but the brother.
Just punched their ticket to the next lieutenant of the 126.
I don't think
No,
so.
you don't know that.
Come on. You just saved the day by plugging that leak.
I didn't save the day. There's still a cloud of doom floating.
I feel like if that interaction is going to make him make a decision, it's going to be that it's Paul, because he'll need someone who, if he gives a direct order, follows it. And like, especially when it comes to safety, like, yes, maybe that won't be the case because Owen also would not have come down. Owen would have 100% been up there like Marjan. Like, we know this. But when it comes to the safety of the crew and the team, obviously we also know Marjan isn't going to order somebody else to go and do something risky and then not follow the orders to bring them back. But still, kind of, if you're having to choose between them, I feel like her disobeying an order, it's not a good look right now. I will love her and respect her for doing it, but she should have come back down. They could have taken a beat, checked on their equipment, swapped it out. Someone else could have gone back up to continue the job because she'd done the first part. Like, it could have been done in a way where no one got injured, and instead she's now injured. So, like, if it's going to affect Owen's decision, I think it might actually be he needs someone else, because he's the reckless dude who's going to run into danger and not hold back, and he maybe needs someone that has a slightly more cautious approach to balance him out. And that was what Judd used to be good at doing. Like, yes, Judd would also sacrifice himself to try and help people. I'm not saying he wouldn't, but Judd is a little bit more cautious and surveying the situation, and that is definitely Paul over Marjan. So as much as I think they are both perfect candidates for the lieutenant, I think that he probably from this will pick Paul. But I want Judd to come back. I don't care if this is a Broby. Yes.
Somebody else was on the train.
Thank you for finally being aware of this. I know you couldn't have known.
Okay.
It's quite an owie, Anthony.
The woman's here as well, isn't she? They're going to go looking for her. Because that's very clearly a hand on his arm. That's not just he got exposed. He ran a bit far away from school, threw his arm into the gas, right? They're going to have to go looking for her. Oh, his phone's ringing. Hospital and a brother trying to reach him. He should have just called a repair person to tow his car and then, like, get help.
I found him! He's down here! Radio Cap! Tell him to send everybody!
Glad they finally found him.
I understand. Take my team. They'll help you.
Whoa.
I'll meet you there.
Okay. Whoa, Cap. No way.
Seriously, hell to the no.
Wherever you go, we go.
And don't even bother giving us orders because...
I really respect Tommy for not putting them into danger, like wanting to send them to safety, and she does the risky thing.
Not ready to say goodbye. He's the only family I have left.
Let's just
Hey,
see
son.
you soon.
You hanging in there, Wyatt?
Yeah.
That's
I'm just
big
trying to get in
situation.
back out to the derailment, but
Maybe there's someone low priority I can pull off the evacuation. Let me see who's still
Oh,
out there.
is Judd gonna
Weird.
do it in
This
a
thing must be glitching.
truck?
According to this, Captain Vega's ambulance is practically inside the cloud.
Oh no, they are.
To rescue 126. You have to go. The cloud's got to be within 100 yards of you.
It's closer than that.
They need to go.
Cab?
Cap, I think maybe we should just go.
I think you. Oh fuck! Of course, like right at the last minute, the worst possible time to. Like if they couldn't find her, it's not worth the three of them dying
TJ,
over
go
it.
get the backboard.
Like. Okay, how the fuck are they supposed to get back to the ambulance? I mean, he also had to run because the fucking gas is at the ambulance.
They're in the school. Hurry now. Go, 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 go. Let's go.
See, this was also a reckless decision. Like, they probably should not have gone looking for her, as awful as that is. Because the three of them dying is not... But it's also their job, and I love them for it. It just stresses me out.
Probably better if we put on some music.
Carlos has more experience with
My
worrying.
ex-wife. Not even sure if Tommy and I are dating anymore.
Well, that's because you're a bit of an idiot.
You want to tell me what happened?
Like, it's maybe
She proposed to me.
the allowance for the meeting the future spouse of the future stepmother of your child. I can maybe work around, like, maybe, but meeting the family of that, no.
So you gave her an ultimatum?
No, no, I did not give her an ultimatum.
You
It-
did.
It was more like a stip. But I met Tommy, and it all went out the window.
But you've been with Tommy for over a year. It could have come
I've
up.
been meaning to tell her.
She's the love of your life.
Well, I haven't had a chance to tell her since she's been
I mean,
ghosting me.
You will when
Imagine
she walks through that
having
door.
If she
any
doesn't kick
problem
my
in your
butt for-
life, and you can just talk to Carlos, and Carlos can give you advice. Like, that is just the perfect situation to be in. This man is lucked out. Not only is he getting to marry Tommy Vega, because I assume they'll work it out, but if he has life troubles, he can ask Carlos for help. Ugh,
First,
maybe that's the root of my
I gotta
dislike.
be honest with you, man.
But you showed up anyway. That's one thing you and Tommy have in common.
Without notifying
You
her, without
fight the
texting her,
good
without
fight.
telling her.
Back.
Is this
Nancy,
classroom
find
airtight?
Towels, paper towels. Wet them down.
Wet paper towel cures everything in primary school.
Auto Strider.
So they've risked their lives to ease this woman's suffering, which is admirable.
I know. You're not.
Are you trying to say boy?
He's
Is the
okay.
boy okay? Okay. Yes. Because you warned him. You saved him.
She was saying run.
Are there any more paper towels? We need to stuff them under the door and in the jams.
Get your jackets off. Could your jackets... I love them for wanting to
That's as
help
soon
that
as we're gonna
woman,
get
but
a
they
cab.
really shouldn't have.
That you will tell your dad to give my girls all the love.
Yeah, I promise.
Welcome to the first month of this job. Oh god. This is horrible. Because they really think they're about to die horribly and painfully, and I just hate them so much. Is the wind changing?
Wait.
Is the wind changing? Because something has to happen.
It's blowing away.
Told you.
Sweetie is not your fan.
I don't think it's the fan. The wind has changed direction. The fog is now moving away from the building.
They really thought they were
God,
about
it's
to die
amazing.
horribly and painfully, and I hate that for them.
Yeah.
What happened?
The feelings that they are going through right now.
wind shifted.
It's good for them, it's bad for them, but like, I just need to process. Like, the three of them were just sitting there, waiting for the gas to reach them so they can die horrifically painfully. I can't, like, no.
Bad news, Cap. The wind just shifted.
I mean, actually, that it's actually really good news for you, Cap, because you still have a son. But otherwise, yes, bad news.
Pack up your gear,
get
back to the trucks, and get out of here.
What? What about you, Cap?
I'm gonna keep cutting. I'll extract him myself.
Cap, you heard
He's
Marge.
doing what Marshawn did.
Well, Captain Strand remains inside in a final effort to extract the victim.
It's a fucking stressful day, and the gas has reached the car.
It's gonna hurt, isn't it? It'll be quick.
Hold your breath for as long as you can.
Judd, what the fuck are you doing? Like, thank you. I do not think you've got your job.
What the heck was that? I've no idea.
It was Judd. They just came back and saved them because they also thought they were about to just die a horrifically painful death.
Judd?
Got it, Cap.
Ha!
I love how they all look out for each other.
returning to their homes.
No.
Oh, come here.
I think we need the biggest hugs ever.
I know.
Hey, babe.
You have no idea how close it was. No idea.
Hi.
I did kind of invade your house today.
Thank you.
Anytime. Good luck.
You've got no idea, Carlos, how close you came
Tommy,
to
I
losing
wanted to
TK today.
apologize for dropping that Cassandra bomb on
I'm still,
you.
like, processing that.
It wasn't cool.
The three of them just sat there, and then, like, Owen and the
And if you're
guy
not
just
comfortable subjecting
waiting for the
yourself
chlorine
to an
gas to reach
interview with
them.
my ex-wife.
Call Cassandra.
I mean, she's
Are you
realized
sure?
there are more important things in the world.
If today has taught me anything,
You are an amazing woman, Tommy.
Yeah,
baby.
you don't deserve her, mate.
yeah, don't you ever pick
New
Lieutenant.
Proby.
Proby? Judd is the new Proby.
Based on him being away from the house for a year, those are the department rules. He has to start at the bottom.
But not in Paul's.
Oh.
His eyes were still open.
I really like that she's
because of
saying,
him that their
don't give
kid
it
is
to me,
alive
give it to
today."
him.
Cap? Paul is your guy.
I do want to know what was written on the paper.
I couldn't have said it better myself. 126, you're new Lieutenant Paul Strickland.
Okay, I love this, because Judd is back, and that makes me happy. What did he whisper that her name was on the card? I'm happy for Paul. Okay. We only had him for such a short time, and that's so horrible. This show has shown us in the past it isn't afraid to kill characters off, but touch wood, and I want it to stay this way, it has been kind of the secondary cast rather than the primary cast, and that's what I want. I don't want them to kill people off. Like, do I think the way Grace left is kind of ridiculous and out of character, and like, I could see her doing that kind of thing at some point in her life, but not when she had like a toddler? Yes. But do I also think they had no other choice, I mean, other than doing, I don't know, coming to an agreement with Sarah McLean? But it's like, yes, so I'm very glad they didn't kill her off, because while I think that would be more realistic as to her not being around than what they did, don't do that, please. So, like, logically speaking, my brain is like, TK, Tommy, Nancy, three of them, bump, 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 sat there. They're going to survive somehow. Even though the gas is literally in the room, they're going to survive somehow. But my brain knows that. So I'm not like in floods of hysterical tears like I would be if I thought they were going to die, because I would be a mess. But those three characters, including my favorite, don't know that they are in a cat TV show. They don't know that they're not gonna, that, like, in that moment, as they desperately were putting the things around the door, they had his little desk fan, that's gonna do all the trick. Listening to Tommy giving her last will and testament essentially to make sure her girls were okay, they all thought, I'm gonna die horrifically and painfully. I just watched that woman die from it. It was not pleasant. I know what it does to the body. it's going to be a horrible way to die. And I'm about to do that, and I'm going to die. I'm never going to see my husband again. I'm never going to see Mateo again. I'm never going to hug my parents. I'm never going to go find out how my book finishes. Like, all of the big and small things of life, that in those moments, they truly believed they were about to die horrifically. And, like, I'm not okay with them suffering through that. That is a lot of trauma for them to have to go through. And for the rest of the episode to just kind of gloss over. Like, the level of trauma of that. In that moment, the three of them sat there holding hands, knowing they were about to die horrifically and painfully. And they weren't even able to save the woman, that they always kind of knew that they were just trying to give her peace, which they did do. Jesus Christ. Now, it definitely is a little thing of like the 126's cowboy culture that I don't think Pierce was 100% wrong about, as much as he's very annoying. Because they really shouldn't have gone looking for her. Like, if you're thinking logically, like, she's definitely dead, and they are fucking lucky they're alive. Like, I almost feel like they'd get a reprimand of some kind for staying around because it goes against policy, but they didn't actually disobey an order, so they won't. But, you know, like, it's their job to get out of there. It's like Tommy's responsibility as captain is to make sure her crew are not going into unnecessary danger. Now, obviously, they all agreed, and I'm not actually personally holding that at Tommy by any means, but I feel like reasonably they shouldn't have gone looking for her because it was too late for her. She was probably already dead, and like, they should be dead now. They are fucking lucky they're not. But I adore them and love them for the fact that knowing there's a person out there suffering that they can bring peace to, that they can help, they're gonna risk everything for it. And so I do adore them and love them for that. Like, but it's definitely the 126 culture. Same with Mahjong on top of the thing. Like, there are times when you just have to accept you can't save everybody, you can't help everybody. And putting yourself in harm's way to try and avert that is not always the right call, even though I love you for doing it, if that makes sense. But the thing that I feel like with this episode, and I imagine there'll be fanfics about it, like, we didn't, like, they kind of were just, oh, we're alive, yay, and then just went on with their lives. Obviously, I think with Tommy, we saw Tommy have a bit of a resolution of it, in that she realised that there were more, that if she were to, someone else were to be raising her girls, she'd want to have a good idea of who it was and approval over it, so she can understand that. It's the wanting to see the children that makes no sense to me. Like, that's the bit that I'm like, tough, like, you don't get to say. If he were to have met someone younger than Tommy and they decided they were going to have their own child, you wouldn't get to vet that baby to see if it was a nice sibling for Melody. Like, that's not how things work. But regardless, we saw kind of Tommy having some, like, character resolution from that near-death experience, in that she was able to kind of realise there were more important things than worrying about meeting this woman, and also that maybe she's not wrong for wanting to know who's going to be raising her daughter. So we saw that resolution, but, like, and I think we saw some resolution in how tightly TK was hugging Carlos. But, like, Nancy, she's just cool. Like, they almost fucking died, and they should have done. And we didn't really get, like, an emotional, oh my god, they're alive. Like, we had a brief one. But I feel like I needed more of that down the episode. Like, acknowledging how close it was, somehow. Because I went through it, and I didn't get the emotional payoff. Like, kind of the teams reuniting or something, or like when, like, them, I don't know. But regardless, it was stressful and awful, and those characters are gonna have nightmares about fucking gas coming for them for the rest of their lives, and I'm fucking stressed about traumatized they were. On the other side, Owen also had a similar thing, where it's kind of like, how the fuck is Owen going to survive this? Because, like, the gas is there, but, like, he's not going to die. And with him, we got a little bit of that payoff in the sense of, like, he was able to see that he did save his brother, and he was able to see that he, well, not his brother, he couldn't save his brother, he saved the brother. And then we saw him kind of looking at his brother and how he misses him, and I think kind of how much his desire to save this kid was to do with his desire to save his own brother and, like, do it right this time, because he couldn't, there was no other way to do it in the past, rather than him making rational, logical decisions, which is not the best in the field. But I will also respect him for the exact same way as Tommy. He was like, he made sure the rest of his team got out of there. And I think if the gas had been closer when Tommy was, even when they were like, we go where you go, if you try to give us orders, it doesn't matter, I still think that, like, Tommy would have made them go back if the gas had been too close. But she kind of had a hope they could get there, find the person, get out before it hit them, was their plan. So I respect Owen for not risking anybody else. But it does show his mental state. It's not great, which, when is it ever, bless him? And yeah, too many characters faced painful death and losing the rest of their lives for me. Kind of would have liked a little moment between Owen and TK to be like, I'm so glad I'm alive and you're alive. How did we both nearly die to chlorine gas in the same day? That's not cool, because I feel like we don't get that much Owen and TK anymore. And like, I don't need it to be like all the time in every episode, because, you know, things have moved on now. Like, TK is married, and so obviously I want those scenes with Carlos, and I don't not want those scenes with Carlos. But I feel like one of the many hearts of this show, especially in the beginning, was the relationship between father and son, and that's kind of been lost a little bit at times. So it would be nice to have had that moment of, oh my god, I nearly died today, Dad, I'm so glad to see you. Oh my god, I nearly died today, son, I'm so glad to see you. You know, I kind of would have enjoyed that, but then I don't know, maybe I just like hugs and emotional moments. There wasn't really time for these scenes that I want, but that's not the point. I wanted them. So yeah, that was really scary and horrific. I'm so fucking relieved that they saved the brother. Like, there was a moment when he said, it's gonna hurt, isn't it? And Owen was like, hold your breath for as long as you could. Where I was wondering if Owen was gonna be like jumping out and like running to get to safety himself, and it was gonna be one of those cases where we couldn't save the person, because I mean, we had that in the school with the reporter. That throughout Lone Star there are, like, when I rewatch with my mum, there are sometimes like we'll see like the beginning of a scene and we're like, fast forward. Like, I know what this is, it's fucking sad, I don't need to watch it again. Like, oh, I see the dad driving his daughter to college and she's like, I want to be a singer, and it's like, nope, no, you, nope. This scene is not happening. I thought it was gonna be one of those moments, so I'm quite relieved he was also alive as well. And Judd coming in and saving the day, showing where his heart is. Like, he saw a disaster and his instinct wasn't, oh, let's avoid the area. It was, let's listen to the radio in case we can help. And then he kind of just hovered around the area until he could help. And I really love him for that, because it shows you where his heart is. And him coming back as the probie just makes so much sense. Like, him coming back as the lieutenant wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world, but or even just coming back as a firefighter. But just him coming back makes sense. It's who he is. It's what he's good at. It's what he's meant to do. And he's a part of the family. So I love that. And I love him being the probie. It's ridiculous. But it's just, it's the family being complete again. And it makes me happy. Wyatt did really well. This was probably his first like big scale disaster. It will not be his last. I mean, it might be because it's the final season and fuck that, let's renew this show. But he handled it really well, I thought. Like, it was a very stressful situation and he knew what he was doing, and he was hearing like last words, and like he did well. So respect to Wyatt. I think the best decision was made when it comes to the lieutenant. Like, I don't think there was a wrong decision to be made, but I also, like, it's kind of the realization I came to during this episode, and I think I did talk about during the episode, I assume I left it in the edit, is that Marjan and Owen are too similar in a way, with their instincts, with how they react to a dangerous situation. Now, Paul and Judd both will risk themselves, they will put themselves in the line of fire, they will take the bullet or whatever, you know, they're not, I'm not saying they are less than or cowardly, but they have slightly cooler heads. They look at the situation and they can assess it a little bit better. Whereas Owen and Marjan are a little bit like, danger, gotta go stop it. Whereas Paul and Judd are like, danger, okay, let's go stop it. Which I think, to make a perfect team, you need that person that's going to take a beat, that's going to have the more considered approach to things, alongside the person that's willing to recklessly rush in. Like, I think they both have their strengths. And I don't think I'm explaining the Marjan Owen thing particularly well, because I do think they have, it's a positive trait even as well as being a negative trait, like her hands getting burnt when she could just pause for a second. But I think it's the best dynamic having Owen and Paul. And then if like one day like Paul were to be a captain, I think he would be best served by having a Marjan type character as his lieutenant, because they're kind of the balancing out situation, if that makes sense. I mean, again, Owen and Marjan are very different people, Paul and Judd are very different people, but I think how they assess the situation and approach things is quite different. And obviously, as the lieutenant, well, if she were the lieutenant, I think Marjan would learn some of that, because Owen is able to assess the scene more clearly, and I think she does have that within her, and she would be a brilliant lieutenant. I don't think it would be a problem, but I do think this was probably the best outcome in general, and we get Judd back, and that makes me happy. I've said before, it's probably irrational, and I love this actor in other things. My brain fog cannot think of his name right now, but the actor playing Tommy's old Pastor Trevor, I can't stand him in this show. I can't stand Trevor. I hate him. I mean, hate is a strong word. I don't actually hate him. I just don't enjoy him. He irritates me. And then, like, Tommy can do so much better. So, yeah, I don't really enjoy it. Hopefully, like, that was their plotline for the season. I'm being a bit silly. They probably will actually get married this season, and we'll definitely see the meeting with the ex-wife. You know, like, he and like, Tommy can be in it, the girls can be in it. That's fine. Trevor irritates me. And like, I didn't particularly appreciate him turning up because it was like he assumed, oh, Tommy's busy with work, so she'll be neglecting her children. I'll go deal with it. Obviously, Tommy was going to sort something out. Now, what you could do in that situation is you could think, this is a stressful situation. Tommy's going to be working like longer than she's supposed to. Like, it's an emergency. I know how hard it can be for her to get childcare in these times. I'm available. I will text her and say, I know things are a bit weird between us right now. I'm not trying, like, today is serious. Let's put that to one side. I will be there for the girls, and then we can talk whenever you're ready. Like, that would be like a thing he could do, so that Tommy's mind would be at ease about the girls. She wouldn't be scrambling for childcare. Like, if Carlos had been on shift or something, and like TK hadn't been able to say, I know who's the perfect babysitter, like, she would have been scrambling to try and find someone who could do it. So I think it was not a bad thing, him going there to be for the girls, but it's quite presumptuous that he just expected no one else, like, them to just have no one. I mean, I don't know, did they have no one there until Carlos arrived? I suppose, are they old enough for that? I don't know. But yeah, even that, it's like, there was something creepy about it. It was the presumption that Tommy would need him instead of offer, like, I think you might need me and, like, let me help. It was like, oh, Tommy's going to need me and I know best, so I'm going to go and do that. And it didn't sit right with me. But I guess he makes Tommy happy somehow, so good for her. I support Tommy's happiness, and if this man is where she finds it, okay, I won't be coming over for dinner very much, but that's fine. Again, it is irrational. There is not, like, other than I do think he didn't behave great this episode, and I do think he probably should have brought up the ultimatum from his ex-wife at some point in the history of time, because they probably have discussed her. Like, the more you get to know each other, the more you will talk about things, and like, it becomes less weird to bring up your ex. Like, obviously, if he says, oh my god, I loved her so much, we had so many beautiful dates, that would be weird. But just to talk about your marriage, what you experienced, what the breakup was like, what it did to you when she cheated on you, etc., like, I think that's probably quite a healthy thing to be able to talk about. But anyway, fuck Trevor, but he makes Tommy happy. So this was a good episode. It was a stressful episode. It didn't quite have the emotional payoff I wanted for the stress it put me through, thinking about what these characters were going through. And maybe that's because normal people don't quite get so into the characters' heads that they realize just how terrified they are, and then yeah, that was not fun. But it was a brilliant episode as always, and I will be forever bitter that they have cancelled this show after the season, and they better change that, fix that mistake, or right about now. Like, they're considering another 911 spin-off on ABC. Fucking hell, just take Lone Star. You have a perfect show with brilliant characters. It's better than the original 911. I love the original 911. Didn't love the first season, but I because Abby was awful and Buck's character needed to evolve, but like, Buck's character did evolve, and absolutely love it now. Like, but Lone Star is better than 911, and I don't understand how that's not more widely seen. I mean, I guess my opinion isn't the majority opinion, but that's not the point. This has just become me rambling. I do adore this show. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and thank you so much for watching.